Welcome back to Talking Shop with ShopSabre. I am your host, Brandon Bombardo, and I am here today with Nick Peters. He is joining us again, but we have a special guest today, Nick.
Very special.
So we have Brad Goodman. Brad, welcome to the show.
Glad to be here.
Appreciate you joining us. I'm sure you got way better things to do than hang out with our two ugly mugs, but see, he didn't say anything. He knew it too.
Yeah.
Brad Goodman joins us. He's from he's one of our customers, actually. He's a customer of ours. Goodman Metal Fab, correct? Did I get the name right?
Goodman Metal Products in Mississippi.
Mess it up. See?
That's all right.
But yeah, Brad's been actually a customer of ours for several years. You've owned a ShopSabre Plasma for many years.
Yeah, Plasma,
router. I was
router.
gonna say, you have a router, and then you now have a fiber laser, and you're becoming kind of a famous guy on the internet now. I mean, you've been doing a ton of videos, and you kind of jumped into this with 2 feet. And you said, Brandon, no offense, but your guys' presence on laser sucks, and I can do this, and I would like to show off what I've done. And I was like, hey, no offense taken, because you're right, and we need to just have more of a presence out there. And so you and I have kind of been working together, and talking and chatting. And I know you work with our tech guys a lot more than me because they're smarter than me. But we've had some really fun, just learning along the way together, kind of playing with the lasers. And I thought today would be a good opportunity for us to just talk about your business, talk about, you as a real customer. Because there's lots of people that talk to us on a daily basis that they want to hear it from you, Brad. They don't want to hear it from me because they expect me to tell them how great their world is. But they want to hear the real world of, hey, this is a real customer. He spent his hard-earned money on our machines. And that's one thing I wanted to clarify, because I've already heard from customers, well, of course, you gave that guy a machine. Like, no, we did not. Brad spent his hard-earned money on our products each time. And we've just been working together. Obviously, our commitment to him is that we are going to support and do everything that we've always done. And his commitment to us was, let me show you, let me show the world how, you guys really are. And so that's kind of how we got here. Did I miss anything there?
Not at all. In all fairness, I mean, we've been with ShopSabre for 7 years almost now, and the customer service, any part of ShopSabre has always been fantastic. I mean, I always tell people we got the best customer service and the best tech guys in the world. It's very easy to pick up the phone and get somebody. And, I had, from being in the welding community and doing what I do, I mean, going to fab techs and talking to different dealers. I mean, I've had several people approach me about, hey, you need to get a laser. And I kind of out there that I was interested in lasers. And then when I saw that you guys came out with a laser, I mean, I was just ecstatic because I knew the customer service I'd get, and I knew the company. So it was kind of a no-brainer for me to go back with ShopSabre again, and I'm so glad I did. It's really been a game changer for our business here. Really allowed us to step things up. But, just getting a little bit about kind of what I do. I do primarily aluminum fabrication work. I'm known more on Instagram and Facebook for aluminum welding, but the backbone of my business is production parts. Started off making my own custom aluminum dog feeders and waters and custom dog boxes and custom fuel tanks. We're big in the racing community. We build a lot of that kind of stuff for those guys, like the Street Outlaw guys. We do Kai Kelly stuff. He's local here, so we do a lot for him. And over the years, I've kind of gotten away from the small products and wanting to grow, and the lasers really allowed us to do that. I mean, the plasma was absolutely fantastic. I mean, when I got it, it was the best thing since sliced bread, and it was a great machine. The router as well. Posted tons of videos on Facebook and then ShopSabre's Facebook page, YouTube. I mean, they're all over everywhere. And but stepping up to the laser has been it's a game changer. I mean, it's just absolutely fantastic. I can't say enough good things about it. But as far as my business now, I've gotten more into the industrial production type parts. where the tolerances are, sometimes we get hole tolerances where positive or negative 0.003 of an inch. So, the laser was a necessity for me to get those tolerances on the thicknesses that we're cutting and stuff.
For sure.
And just a great machine. I can't say enough good things about it. That and the company. I mean, the company's been fantastic.
And I
to me.
appreciate that. I mean, honestly, like I couldn't have written a script better than that one. I mean, that was awesome. I appreciate the plug there. But my favorite thing that you said there, and honestly, like you started it off with is that you gave a shout out to the tech team, like my tech guys. And I am very blessed to have an awesome group of individuals in that tech department, and they don't get enough recognition, honestly, for what they do and how great they really are. So I appreciate you shouting them out. But I gotta say, your business, man, like I'm so impressed with what you've done with it, and just some of the stuff you've accomplished over the years is even with plasma. I mean, what you were accomplishing with plasma was pretty impressive, and it always made me realize, and that's a big part of today's topic probably, is like there's more to these machines than meets the human eye, right? A lot of people think, unfortunately, we live in a world where people want instant gratification, right? And they buy something, they plug it in, and they want to hit print, right? And they just want it to go run, and they think I don't have to do anything. It's just right out of the gate, going to cut perfect. And the reality is these are machines, and it doesn't matter what machine you run. I mean, I've got mills, I've got plasmas, I've got lasers, I've got all the same stuff, that we use here in the shop. And I'm going to tell you right now, I've hired many operators for our own equipment in the shop. And unfortunately, we have terminated many operators over the years because a good operator and a bad operator can make a world of difference on the same machine. And sometimes you have to be willing to slow down to go faster. And I think, you mentioned the racing world, and that's something I like to use from the racing world is going as fast as you can all the time doesn't happen unless you slow down sometimes, right? And you have to be willing to learn, and you have to be willing to find like, okay, what variables exist within my environment? And, especially with plasma, let's talk for a second here, because you still see a world where plasma still exists. Like I don't see plasma going away, because there are certain things that plasma does that is just more affordable than any laser project, in running a laser to do it, because you don't need sometimes the tolerances, or you need a thicker cutting capacity. And in reality, to get to thicker cutting with a laser gets really expensive. I mean, it starts to really drive that cost up, not to mention the power consumption. And I think that's where a lot of people don't realize that with plasma, the power consumption is much more manageable when cutting thicker materials than when you're getting into fiber lasers. And so, Brad, let's talk about that for a second here. I guess, what was your biggest like driving factor? Obviously, you said it's changed your business and you're glad you did it, but what really drove you to like, hey, you know what? I have a plasma. I still need a plasma, but I also need now a laser. Like, what drove you down that road?
Well, honestly, whole quality on and tolerances, really, because the prints we get now from we work for a major transformer industrial company. I mean, they're a worldwide company, and it's, I don't think people realize that the tolerances are so important, because if you send the part and it's out of tolerance, they send the parts back. And I mean, you've lost all that material. And speaking, coming from a plasma background, I mean, a lot of people don't realize that plasma has sort of an included taper on
100%.
holes, that it just from the nature of the plasma arc. I mean, the plasma arc is shaped like I call it a teardrop. So, and when you get the thicker material, that teardrop, it does increase, but it has like a 2-degree, included taper on thicker stuff, where the laser doesn't. So achieving the bolt hole quality holes within tolerance, within 2 to 3 thousandths, positive or negative, sometimes is really hard with the plasma. So that's why we decided to step up to the laser. In that and some speed issues, we're cutting more production parts now, so we want to be able to cut those parts a little quicker and more efficiently, and the post cleanup on the laser is a little less than plasma. So I know that doesn't sound like a whole lot, and you'll think, yeah, I could do I could do that same thing with the plasma. But when you're talking about doing hundreds of parts at a time, and you start figuring labor hours, consumables, cleanup time, where am I going to have to buy an extra machine to clean these parts? The laser, when the laser is tuned right, we have some parts here now that we cut. Like primarily, we do a ton of aluminum parts. At what we're known for, but we do stainless and carbon steel as well. We have tons of runs that are 200-300 parts at a time, and anything from 032 thickness aluminum up to 1/4 inch stuff, and it's cut and drop in a box. I mean, we've got it dialed. I mean, we have our own methods of dialing the machine in, and have kind of, but, I'm one of those people that I dig in, I do my research, and I knew when the machine got here that it was different than plasma and there was going to be a learning curve. So there's some growing pains involved in going from plasma to laser. But I will say this, if you've got experience on the plasma, the laser, it makes it a little easier to go in because a lot of the things
Right.
already, is speed, the torch height, things like that. But you have some more variables that come along with it. But really, at the end of the day, the reason we went to the laser was whole quality, speed, and just post cleanup. That it just, over a course of a year, if you sit down and put pencil to paper, it's a lot of money. That you can save by making that.
And that's what I think a lot of shops don't realize, is that, and sorry, Nick, if I cut you off, if you want to add something, but I think a lot of shops don't realize the amount of money that you spend doing things that otherwise could be manipulated a little bit better, and it's like you said, it's drop in the box, once you spend, and I've heard this from so many companies that I think they get running so fast sometimes that they don't realize that they have to slow down. And because there's under so many deadlines, so many, time restrictions that they're like, I just have to cut parts day one. And it's like, I understand that. But if you can take a day or 2 days to really dial it in, you're going to actually get all that time back tenfold, because to your point, you're not cleaning up the parts now. You're not having to, go mess around with, being upset that now the parts get sent back to you in a box, because they didn't meet tolerances. Like sometimes it's just spending a little extra time when the machine arrives to truly okay, I'm going to play with these materials. And it's something we recommend a lot of times. And it really doesn't sit well with people when they don't understand laser, when you're they call us up and they're like, well, I'm getting this, what do I do? And we're like, well, you're going to have to play with it a little bit. Like we got to, we got to try this. We got to do this. And people just expect it to kind of be like a plasma where we can tell them, you need to adjust this specific parameter and it's done. But what people don't realize is with plasma, there's only so many parameters to adjust because they're kind of stuck, like you said, within the constraints of the technology. Where with laser, they're so accurate that there's a lot more variables that can affect little things. And so they don't love that, oh yeah, I got to adjust, my gas pressure, or I got my focus, or, whatnot. And all of those things do make a difference. Where on a plasma, you don't have a focus to adjust, right? You don't have to worry about the gas pressure. You just feed it what it is, and the regulator on the back of the plasma cutter regulates it down, and that's what you have. And it's a very different nature in that world. But to your point, if you understand plasma and you're willing to just now take that next step, it's actually a lot easier than people give themselves credit for. Because sometimes it's just a matter of, once you understand this affects this, and this affects this, and this affects this, then it's just finding the sweet spot for each material.
Yeah, and I think the biggest learning curve for the laser, because there's several settings like focus, duty cycle, your air pressure, nozzle sizes. I explain the laser to people like this, like on the nozzle sizes, and you kind of think about it like a pressure washer. So the smaller the nozzle size, the less volume of air will come out, but you'll get a lot more pressure. So you have to keep those things in mind when you're adjusting the machine. The biggest advice I could give to anybody on the laser is really do your research and figure out, there's tons of YouTube videos. I mean, not really good ones, but there's some out there. Learn what each setting actually does. learn what your focus is, learn what your duty cycle is, learn what your frequency is, and learn, and then when it comes time to apply those, you'll know that, hey, if I've got a little bit of dross on the bottom of this aluminum part, there's two things I could adjust. Basically, is I can adjust my focal point or I can adjust my air pressure, and then, speed goes along with it sometimes too. But I think the most important thing that people need to understand, this is not a plug and play machine from the standpoint of cutting a part efficiently. It is a plug and play machine from the standpoint that if you do your work ahead of time, when the machine comes in, you can have the machine up and going in hours. I did a video on this and put it on the ShopSabre plasma page. I received my machine at 1:30. The truck parked in front of our facility at 1:30. At 5:15, the machine was in place. It was cut on, powered up, had air to it. I could move the machine around at 5:15. But we had done our pre-planning, and the machine come in, the machine did what it was supposed to do. I would have attempted to cut parts that afternoon if I understood just a little bit more about the nesting before it got there and stuff like that. So I just kind of studied overnight, made sure I had it before I got it. But when it comes to tuning the machine, I mean, you're gonna have to spend the time. You're gonna have to run the test parts. I mean, I'd recommend somebody. What I actually did is I got a set point on aluminum. I got a set point on steel from two different customers. I downloaded some different charts. I used you guys' chart to come with the machine. I found one material that was kind of in the middle of the range that I cut. I say, okay, so I'm gonna dial in that material. And then that gives you a starting point. Just say for aluminum, for existent, I took one setting in aluminum, then I worked on the thicker side of it, and then I worked on the thinner side of it. And I took that middle of the line set point, and I kind of just back things off or increase things and tune your parts in. I mean, that's what it takes. It does take some work on your part to get it tuned in. It's not, people have the big misconception, but I see that the laser you just plug the material size in there and hit go and it's there, and it's so not. Even plasma's not. Anybody that has experienced plasma operator know that it's a constant tuning game. The weather can change and make it cut different materials, different grade of materials. So the laser's a little bit more of a tuner's game, but once you understand what does what, it gets easier. And the results are, like I said, the results are 10 times worth the effort that you put in to get it.
And that's the thing I want to be clear is, like, we know we're talking about all the things you should do, but it's really not that difficult. Like, to be clear, like, we're stressing it because we want people to understand, don't be afraid to play with it a little bit, right? But once you get it, and it's really, you can be very confident in what you're doing, and it becomes very repetitive at that point. And to your point of, being willing to go in and, find the settings. And even for us, you said there's a lot of videos out there and not very good ones. Like, we recognize that. And so we actually been spending, Nick, I don't know, what's it been, the last 4 weeks now?
So yeah, it's been 7 weeks,
3-4 weeks now. We've been spending out in the shop with the camera crew, with the guys. We've been cutting parts. We've been making videos, and we're trying to get more and more videos online. So, like, with our Sabre Nation University now, we're adding more and more. And honestly, Brad, we've taken some of your videos and even used some of that stuff, as you know, and we've shared it. And to me, that's the big thing people don't realize, is because we get a lot of pushback, obviously, when people are thinking about buying a machine and they're like, well, I can't believe you're not sending somebody out here for a week to hang out with us, or you're not sending a person out here, to set the machine up. And they just don't realize, to your point, Brad, like, we don't need to. Like, I know it sounds bad when we say that because it makes it sound like we don't want to, but it's not. We truly don't need to be there, because the majority of the work has already been done at our factory, where a lot of these companies that you buy from in today's world, the factory's in China, the factory's in India. And so by the time the piece of equipment really gets to you, they're not even sure the state that it's in sometimes. So it's like, the reason they're there is to make sure the machine actually can power up and run and work and do what it's supposed to do. But, like, to your point, your machine shows up 1 o'clock in the afternoon, and by 5:30 in the evening, you're running the machine. It's able to be powered up and moving around. And, again, it's just about truly following the preparation. And we provide a preparation guide. Nick, you send that out to every customer, correct? Yeah. And we have a manual, and we have, our tech support team. And as long as you prepare, right, you know what size forklift you're going to need when the machine shows up, you know the space that's going to go, knowing where you're going to set it down is key. And then having in that space your electrical ready to go, your air lines, your, everything in place. You really can just unpackage it, start plugging it in, and depending on how fast you want to work, I mean, you're able to get the machine running relatively quickly, and without a lot of, I would be willing to bet that, you getting it running, it probably wasn't a massive production to do that. I'm assuming that you didn't have a whole crew of people doing it. It was a relatively low demand setup.
And I'll be honest with you, it was me and my brother and a 110-pound girl that I work here in my shop, and we got all the machine, and everybody could follow directions, and the directions were fantastic, so as usual. I mean, we got the machine in, got it set up, and, I couldn't sleep that night waiting to get in here the next day and cut apart. I mean, I studied all night. I was kind of a little apprehensive. I just, wanted to make sure I had it right. But, it really is like I said, from the standpoint of getting the machine in the door, it's, you do your homework. I mean, a couple of hours, you got it in there, and you do your homework, you cut parts the same day or start cutting parts. But, back to reiterate that it's a highly, it's a tuner's game. So you do have to, you can't be scared to get in there and try this and try that, because you're gonna, that's the only way you're gonna learn.
Yeah. I'm a firm believer in that.
Like I said, the videos just aren't available, but I've done videos before, and I know you've seen them, and one of the things that I did was, Hypertherm says you can't cut aluminum with fine cut consumables, and I proved them wrong on that.
Yeah.
Because I use it all the time. I actually had Hypertherm create me another, in my spreadsheet for ProNest, create me another fine cut column, because I showed them it will cut.
Yeah, that's awesome.
And, so it's just something you got to just you got to get in the right mindset that, I can do this, do your little homework. And I think we got a great Facebook site there that I'm always on there, and I'm always available. I mean, I answer questions. A lot of people direct message me about it, and I'm always glad to help, and anybody in our group. I mean, that's the great thing about our plasma and laser group, that everybody's willing to help.
I love that.
And I think, I'm one of the people, I know you guys are the same way. I want to see everybody do well. I mean, it makes me proud to be able to help somebody and then call me back and say, man, that's fantastic, and that helps so much. And then, congratulations, man. I mean, that's great. That's what we're here for.
The world and the internet needs so much more of that.
Like
just the guys that are willing to help people and not be afraid of helping and making others. There's plenty of things around for everybody to be successful, right?
Right.
There's no reason to not help somebody out.
I think it's, I think that's a big thing too, Nick. Like, to your point, there's so much going on in the world all the time that I think there's no reason to be concerned about somebody else being successful, right? There's 1,000 ways to be successful. And it's whether you do it your way, they do it their way, but helping each other. And to your point, Brad, we are that way. And I think that's why I take it so personally when people think we don't want to help them, or we don't, it's because we truly, same as you, to your point, Brad, there's nights I don't sleep because I'm how can I overcome this concern? Or how can I help somebody resolve their problem? Or hey, they got a question, and then my brain gets going. I'm that's a great question, but what's the solution? So now I start to try to figure it out. And I can't tell you the amount of times I've sat out in that shop and I've just cut parts and ran things and worked with the guys. And I've chased, a rabbit hole that probably didn't need to chase, but I'm to your point, when somebody tells me it can't be done, I want to see can it really? Can I do this? And I start to play with it. And there's been many times I've been told something can't be done, and it can't be done. I'll tell you what, I've tried it and I've exhausted it, and I'm they were right. I should have just listened to them. But there have been those instances, to your point, Brad, where somebody has said this can't be done, and you're can it though? And I start playing with it, and you get it. And it's not easy to do it. And there's a difference between it can't be done and it can't be done easily, right? There's two different things. And
exactly.
Trying to figure it out.
Exactly.
And I think that's what kind of sets us apart. And I think that's why I take a lot of pride in being, an American company. And, I get some flack about that even on the laser, because people are well, you say you're American made, but you're using the Ray Tool stuff. Well, to be very, very clear, Ray Tools is a vendor of the laser, right? They are very well known in the industry. It's not I decided to outsource to some knockoff thing for profit, right? We chose a very reputable vendor who comes with a lot of history and experience. It's a very different experience than buying a whole entire machine from China or, something like that, where it's just privately labeled with our color on it and our name on it. We truly build the frames here in-house. We truly do assemble the machines here. We do truly wire the machines and build the controller. We build the control system, the cabinet, excuse me. We build all of that in-house. And then, yes, we plug in components, right? So there are components like the Mitsubishi servos that, of course, we buy those. And of course, we buy the Ray Tools controller. Like those certain things we do buy, but it doesn't diminish the machine's quality, for one, because we do put a lot of time and energy into the engineering side. And then we go one step further and say, not only are we going to do it, we're going to support it. We're not going to outsource this to another firm. Right. We're not going to tell you have to call, Ray Tools directly. We're really going to try to be the main point of contact. And that does mean, and unfortunately, when you're getting into anything new, and we will own it, we've been in the laser industry now 1 year. We've been doing this for about 1 year, building these machines. I guess a little over a year now, about a year and a few months now. But nevertheless, there's a learning curve for us too. And, we're trying to learn, and we're building, the database. Like you said, Brad, like the videos out there weren't great. So we're trying to build those, and, we're excited to be able to release more videos in the next coming weeks. And we're trying to build training classes. We actually are excited about that. We now have a monthly training class, correct, Nick?
Yep,
monthly?
Every month, yep.
Yep, every month we have a training class here at ShopSabre's facility on laser. So people can, send their operators up here. They can come up themselves and visit us. And, our goal is to be that same person we are in plasma and router in the laser world. And it's going to take time, right? It takes us time to really acclimate. But that's also why, when you look at ShopSabre's value proposition, right? What we offer these machines for and the features that come on these machines, you really don't find products on the market today that can truly, in my opinion, go head to head with all of the features that come on this machine. Most machines similar in pricing and options don't have an enclosure. They're not properly safety rated, right? And they have all these risks associated with it that I get it. You can buy a cheaper machine from China in some of those cases, but it's at an expense somewhere, right? You're giving up something somewhere. So,
well, I'm never and that was one of the things that I did like about the ShopSabre laser too, is I'm not going to sacrifice anybody's safety by having an open based machine. They tell you, well, it's only 2 kW. You don't have to know. They don't tell you the whole entire truth. Only 2 kW is not regulated in the United States as having an enclosure. So the enclosure, anybody that's going to get a laser, even if you buy it from another source, if it doesn't have an enclosure, don't put yourself at risk.
I agree,
like that.
100%.
I would not. It to me, if I had somebody hurt or damaged them permanently because of some safety feature that I didn't get on the machine because I was trying to save $5,000, that would be the end of me right there. I just couldn't do that. So there's no sense in it. But you're talking about the growing pains. It's not just growing pains for y'all, it's growing pains for us as owners too. So, anytime you learn something new, that's a consideration. And I think when people buy them, if they've never had a laser or operated a laser, I can't iterate enough that, it's different. It's not something that you can't do, but it's just something different. You have to put forth the effort on your end as well as, y'all put forth your effort. We have to put forth our effort as well. And if we both do that and work together, I don't see it not being a success.
And that's the truth right there, is I think there's so much in this world that we as just humans can accomplish together if we would just be willing to come meet halfway, right? Like, I think you get so caught up, and we've all seen it, right? Not to talk political, not to talk anything like that, but everything in the world, anything on any side of any spectrum, there's always a for and against person, right? That's how it works, right? You look at sports, there's somebody who likes one team, somebody likes the other team. But I think like the way success is built together is by finding that common ground, right? There's always something in the middle that you can find as a common ground. And that common ground in this world is success. ShopSabre wants you to be successful. And then you as the consumer want to be successful, right? So there's that success in the middle that we both see what our goal is. How do we get there now? And it's just, that open communication. And that's why for us, lifetime tech support is a must, because we don't want there to be a barrier of communication. We don't want somebody to feel like, well, I can't afford to call ShopSabre. I can't afford to talk to them. Like, no, pick the phone up, call our team. It does not mean that when you pick the phone up, call me, that we immediately have the answer, right? Sometimes we have to dig in, we have to figure it out. We're gonna dive into that. But I assure you, like, that's how we build our knowledge as well, is we dig in and we figure it out. And once we know the answer, now we know the answer, right? We don't forget those things we've learned. And just like as an operator, to your point, if you dig in and you start playing with settings and you start sharing that information, it's stuff that as a community we grow and we learn. And, that's where Sabre Nation really comes along, is, that's why I'm proud of having that group where our plasma customers and our laser customers can interact, because we share information from each other. And there's times that somebody, to your point, Brad, you do a lot of aluminum. There are guys that have never touched aluminum their entire life. And then suddenly their customer comes to them and says, I need to cut 3 sheets of this aluminum. And they're like, I don't even know where to start. And it's nice to be able to lean on a guy like you, Brad, and say, hey, my customer brought me this. What do you recommend? And you can say, do this, and do not do this. Like, at least that sets them up for success.
Exactly. And it's funny that, I have 2 other fab shops within 3 miles of my shop. One of them has a ShopSabre fiber laser. They're 2 miles up there. I could scream real loud and he could hear me. And we all help one another. I was going over and helping him with his laser before mine ever showed up.
I was just going to say that.
So, one thing I can say that's great about my area and our industry right here is we all do industrial work. None of us try to take anything from the other, and we all want each other to be successful. And we're so blessed to have 2 other companies like that as close as we are. So we share set points. I had somebody, it's a funny story, because I had somebody message me. It's funny we're doing this today. Somebody messaged me yesterday afternoon and said, hey buddy, said somebody on the site told me that you got some real good set points for aluminum. That's all we could is aluminum. He said, I can't believe you're sharing those. I was like, why would I not share them? You're in Pennsylvania. You're not going to take my business from me. And I'm not worried about you trying, And I said, I want you to do good. ShopSabre wants you to do good. And let's, we can all work together and be one big happy family, So that's kind of where I try to push that on anybody that asks, because, I do want to see them do good. Like I said, it gives me a sense of satisfaction being able to help somebody. So, so I'm always glad to share set points if there's something I can help with. If it's not taken away from my daily chores here, I don't mind helping, not one bit. So, it's different. You're just going to have to put the work in and do your sample parts. That's the biggest advice that I can give anybody. And don't be scared to try.
Yeah, I think the big thing with that, sharing stuff is, I think that goes back to previous episodes when we've shared like successful businesses. And Brad, I consider you one of those guys that I kind of admire, and I watch a lot of your success. And successful businessmen generally don't get concerned with somebody stealing their business, right? Because to me, your value isn't in those details, right? Your value to your customer isn't the settings of your machine, right? The value to your customer is the way you treat them, the way that you produce, in your business. It's not just the machine, but it's the whole entire value, right? It's the customer service. It's, more than just the price of my parts or the settings on my machine, right? It's an entire package. And I think that's what a lot of business owners lose sight of, is that we get a lot of times, I feel like in business owners, especially in the early age, the early years of business, I remember as we kind of got started, you try to like keep everything, kind of close to the vest, because you're so worried that somebody else is going to take my secret. But the reality is 99% of the secrets you think you have, somebody else already has, right? They've already done it too. And they're not these big secrets, right? It's not this like, man, you got this magic button, because at the end of the day, those things tend to be more publicly known than we realize, because we're so infinite, right? We don't know yet what we don't know. And then as you grow and you get larger and you start to realize, my customers aren't shopping here because of this little secret. They're coming here because of me. They're coming here because of you. They're coming because of the people I have around me and the way I treat people and the way I make people feel, and that they can depend on me. And that starts to open up more doors for you as a business, I feel like, because once you acknowledge the fact that people come to you for the value, you start to realize there's a lot more out there that you can go after. instead of just trying to be the cheapest guy in town or trying to be, whatever, the fastest guy in town. Like, there are advantages to being the cheapest guy in town and being the fastest guy in town. I'm not going to say those people don't find success, but you live and die by that, because suddenly you're not the cheapest guy. And if that's all you sell on is price, somebody else takes your business. Or if you are the fastest guy and suddenly your machine breaks down, you're not the fastest anymore, and now you have a problem. But when you sell on the value aspect of it, people are going to forgive you if you're a week longer on lead time than somebody else, or if your price is, a little bit more than the next guy. They want what you're offering, not just the cheapest.
Well, and all those things you just mentioned go back to those things bring short-term success, right?
Right.
Where the things you talked about prior to that with the, customer service, building those relationships, whatever it might be, that's going to build your long-term success. And that's basically should be what you're looking for, right? Long-term success instead of just a quick, short buck.
Absolutely. No matter who I give my set points to, who cuts of aluminum, it all boils down to your personal relationship with the people that you supply to, and your quality. Put quality first. And that guy down the road that's trying to take your business from you, don't worry about him, and don't worry about that guy's trying to be the cheapest, because I'll tell you, long term, they're going to price themselves out of business, and you'll still be 100%. I've seen it, but you cannot sacrifice on quality, and this laser will help you get there. I'm telling you, it has changed the whole scope of my business for the industrial side of things. Excited. Speed, quality, tolerances, like we talked about before, post cleanup, stuff like that. I mean, it's just, put a good part out there, put your heart and soul into it, and you'll be successful. But on the same token, I've seen a lot of people trying to get started in business, and they'll price themselves out of business. Just like, well, if I do it cheaper, I can get them, and I can do that. Well, that's not helping you. I don't take breaks. I'm usually here. I get up at 4:30 every morning. I'm here by 5:30. I get my stuff done and kind of head before everybody gets here. I'm the last one to leave, and that's what it takes. People think owning a small business is just, you can kind of collect your checks and go fishing when you want, and I can't tell you the last time I went fishing or did anything, just like that I used to do. Yep. But the success comes with hard work. And, I saw this thing on YouTube the other day, and it was a sign. It said, whether you think you can or you think you can't, you're right.
100%. Yep. I love that phrase.
That's the coolest thing I've seen in a long time.
That's today's motivational quote. We're going to use that one today. That's going to be it. Whether you can or you can't, you're right. Yeah.
That's right.
I do. I really agree with you on that, because there's a lot of people, I think, in business, and I loved that you brought up the business statement, because there's a lot of people that when they're getting into business, they're like, can't wait. I work for myself, not going to have to work as hard. That initial like mentality that people have when they go into business for themselves. And then it's like the real business owners and the people who have done this realize you don't know what you're getting yourself into, because you don't take breaks. You don't get days off. Like, you work 7 days a week, and that's what it is. Like, we're working 7 days a week. It is never a dull moment, right? When you think you got things under control, you don't. Something's going to kick you in the teeth. And it's just like that natural, like, I don't know. Have you watched Landman? Have you seen that show? Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Me too. I do too. And there was a phrase in that show at one of the episodes, and he said, son, I don't know why you're rushing home to deal with problems, because there's just more problems waiting behind those problems, And it's the truth. That's really how life is. That's how business is. Like, no matter how fast you resolve a problem, there's going to be another one. So stressing over just come up with a solution, keep moving. You just have to keep moving forward, because no matter what you do, you're never going to find that perfect place, right? I don't know what work-life balance is. As a business person, like, I know work. I haven't found the balance part of it. I feel like I work all the time, but it's easy to work when you love what you do. Yep. I truly enjoy working with our customers. I truly enjoy working with the equipment. It's not work to me. Yes, I'm working, but there's a lot worse things I could be doing.
I had a young man tell me the other day. He said, Mr. Brad, he said, I think I want to go work for myself. I just can't deal with people. And I said, well, buddy, you're heading in the wrong direction, because that's who you're working for, is other people. And I said, and on a much bigger scale. So you might want to rethink that, so it's different. I absolutely love working for myself. I love that I was able to grow a business from basically nothing. I mean, I started off building, I was big in the competition dog world, and I started off building dog boxes. It was my very first thing to do. And I was cutting aluminum with a table saw and a skill saw and just what I had. And I bought a little used 4x4 plasma table, and I thought that at the time that was the best thing that ever happened to me. And I found out that it wouldn't even cut a square plate. It wouldn't cut it square. And I had it about a year, and it was good for some signs and stuff that we cut, and that was about it. But we upgraded to the ShopSabre plasma, and man, that thing, once again, at that point, it changed our business. We were able to cut some parts, and not only cut aluminum, we cut some steel and heavier steel stuff. And you'd be surprised the work you can round up to do, with plasma, just cutting heavier stuff. And then, like I said, here recently, we got some more industrial manufacturing stuff, and we just needed those fighter tolerances, and the laser was just a great fit for that.
The thing I love about that is your story there. Like, it's a perfect example of, you have to right size for your business, right? And the first step for you wasn't run out and buy $100,000 laser. It was, we're going to cut by hand. We're going to get our feet wet. We're going to get going. And then we buy a plasma table that fits us now. And to your point, you realized, okay, this plasma table doesn't fit us. We're going to move up, right? And you ended up with the ShopSabre then. And then you ended up at the laser. It's not like you went all in 7 years ago, I'm buying a laser, that's where I'm starting. Like, you knew that there's a stepping stone that, hey, I know what my business needs today, but we all recognize our businesses are going to keep telling us what it needs tomorrow, and you have to right size for it.
Right? Growing pains.
To me, the thing that's
we're going to call the episode Growing Pains.
Growing Pains. We can call that.
To me, the thing that stuck out earlier when you were talking was, we hear a lot of people say, I have a plasma, why would I need a laser? Right? It's a common thing you see. Even when I overhear sales guys talking to customers, they have that same question, right? But it goes back to other episodes we talked about too, with thinking about the other things in your business besides the parts you're cutting, right? Like all the work that you were talking about, having to clean up parts from the plasma, or the extra work that goes into all those things, and the extra time and money and labor that it costs to do those things. So that you add up those things in your business, and does that equal the need for a laser that's going to take all those things out of all the extra work and labor that you need?
Yeah.
No, that's the thing that stuck out to me.
Yeah. And it's true. I mean, it's you over the years, you kind of realize and you learn, and and another thing that we didn't even touch on was, most of the lasers 5 years ago, first of all, they weren't affordable for a shop my size, and then they were all 3-phase, so there wasn't the single phase option. And like our shop here, we have single phase, but it was going to cost me $60,000 to upgrade to 3-phase for the shop. So the single phase option was a no brainer for us. I mean, would I love to have a 6kW at some point if I ever move in a new shop? Heck yeah, I'd love to have one. But right now, what fits the scope of our business is the single phase. So even having the laser here, we're talking about comparing laser and plasma, even having the 2kW laser here, if I had room in the shop, I would have kept the plasma I had and kept both, because it being single phase, that plasma will cut up and step up and cut the 3/4 inch plate and some stuff that the 2kW is going to struggle with. So there's room in a shop for both. My buddy up the road, he has a ShopSabre plasma and laser, and he has both, but he has a much bigger shop than I have, and he uses both daily. I mean, so plasma will always have its place. But for what I'm doing now, it was more. It was a better business decision to step up to the laser just for the precision holes, tolerances, you know, I cut some, I'll share it on the Facebook page, but I have an alignment tool that we use to build a certain part. And I cut that tool out on the laser, and I wanted a press pin fit for 2 pins to press in so I could just tack weld them and use that as alignment. First cut, nailed it within a thousandth
That's
of
awesome.
an inch of what I wanted. I mean, just it's unbelievable the stuff that if you spend the time that you
Right.
can do with it.
No, I love that because it's exactly that. There's a right tool for every job you do. And, you know, I've often reminded my wife of that when she's using my DeWalt drill as a hammer, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's, you know, it's one of those things where it's you really have to understand what your goals are. And I think that's what I always tell customers when they're like, well, why would I buy a plasma if you guys sell laser? Well, do you need a laser? Because you might not need it. You know, I'm not here to sell you something you don't need either. Because to your point, there is a world where plasma is the answer. And then there are people that step into it and they're like, you know, I really just need a plasma. And I'm like, well, what are you doing? And when they start talking about bolt ready holes and they start talking about tolerances, you know, and you're talking 1/8 inch holes, rivet holes, I'm like, you know, plasma's probably not the answer. You know, you're going to end up with a lot more work on your hands. You know, they're like, oh, I'll go drill those parts, right? I'll cut them all out and then I'll just drill them. Well, that's time, and time is money. So at what point, how much time drilling and drill bits and the drills and all the other stuff that goes along with it, laying it out and making sure you get the hole in the right spot versus just let the laser just cut everything. Let it do the holes, let it do the parts. And now when that part comes off the machine, you just go bolt it on or you go use it and you finish it, you know, versus having to now take it to the next step. There is an advantage there as well.
Look, I have an aluminum part that's the plate's 1/8 inch thick. And it has, we were hand drilling. We have some 0.098 holes, 2 holes in that plate. And we're building 150 of these plates per order. So that's 300 holes to lay out and drill. Now I cut those 0.98 holes with laser. I mean, and it's amazing. And we've got 0.003 tolerance, positive or negative on those holes, like I said. So that's a game changer right there. You don't realize the labor it takes to drill 300 holes, lay out and drill 300 holes. So it made us more profitable instantly. I mean, I tell people come up here, they say, well, how do you like your laser? I say, man, this thing prints money. I mean, it is no better explanation for it. It prints money. I mean, I'm overwhelmed with joy about having the machine here in the shop. I mean, it's my favorite tool now.
So we've talked a lot about how we got here. I guess as we wrap up the episode, I'd like to just ask you, I guess, what's the future for you? What are you excited about? Where are you going? I mean, what's your business? You know, what's the next step? What are you focused on?
Well, you know, we've been doing this. I think I've been doing this right at 10 years now, and it's just growing. You know, we're more focused in the industrial end of stuff, and just I'd to see us in the next 2 years, you know, we really want to, there's some more equipment that we want and kind of need. And I can see, you know, honestly, like I'm on track to pay the laser off.
That's crazy.
Year. I mean, it's paying for itself. I mean, we have it laid out here with the orders that we get every month, and we have it where it will pay for itself in a year. So we're growing in the industrial end, and that's kind of where our focus is right now. We've kind of backed off the custom products. We still do some repair stuff on occasion. You know, I have a couple little side things that I do. I teach welding classes, and I do some video content for welding tips and tricks on YouTube. We did the welderskills.com thing for years, and I actually do some training classes here in the shop. So, I mean, it's all that involved. It keeps us pretty busy, you know, so we're just looking forward to growing and maybe expanding our shop some in the near future. And, who knows, we may have another laser. I want to have enough to where I have to buy 2 from you guys.
No, that's awesome. I'm excited for you. It's been fun watching. Like I said, the growth that you have demonstrated over the years is just impressive. And it's proof that, you know, you don't always have to have the end plan, right? You just have to keep putting one foot in front of the other and moving, and that plan sometimes develops itself as you keep moving.
Yeah, and you can't be scared to invest in yourself. You know, anything that you can learn, a new skill, even if it costs you to learn it. Yeah, I mean, you can't that's the best money you can spend if you're serious about it. I mean, you know, you can't be scared to invest in yourself or invest in your business. I mean, you know, don't go like we talked about earlier. Don't start a new business this week and go take $1 million loan out for all this new equipment. And you don't know where work's coming from. I don't recommend that, but you know, at some point you're, you do quality work and keep good relationships with your vendors and the people you're working for. I mean, the business will come to you. And that's at the end of the day, that's what you want. You want business come to you. You don't want to have to get out and hunt for it anymore, because you'll get there. Because, you know, I mean, I've gotten there. People think aluminum, they call me. I mean, my name pops up now. Even, you know, I was trying to get my name up there for years, and when it finally did, I get more stuff now than I have to turn stuff away.
It's a good problem to have.
You know, just
good problem to have.
Yeah. And I really enjoyed you guys' episode about beginning of the year. You know, like, we ended the year and taking a break. That is so true. You work for yourself. You don't take breaks. You keep pushing forward and get ahead. So
it takes all 12 months.
But yeah, I mean, fall 13.
All 13 of them. That's the truth. Ain't that the truth?
That's right.
Nick, should we do our conclusion here? Should we do a little thing here, Brad?
We do some questions at the beginning because I didn't come prepared.
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, I was like, oh, Brad's going to be here. I don't need to bring questions.
Yeah.
We're talking to the Tiger Woods of laser right now.
Yeah.
He's
awesome.
No, we always have some.
We do some fun things. Yeah. We just throw random questions at you and let you throw a few answers out there before we wrap things up. You up for it?
I'll try my best. As long as you don't mind redneck answers count too, right? You know, I'm from the deep part of the South, so I might give you something you never heard before. But shoot,
you got the first one.
You want me to fire it off?
Yeah, you got the first one.
All right, what's your favorite color? Okay.
Black.
It should be blue, but I'll take black.
Specifically ShopSabre.
ShopSabre blue.
Well, my you know, I like ShopSabre blue too.
Yeah, they're
Look, my mom always picks on me. It's a funny story. I lost my luggage at the airport, and I was out of town again, and she went and picked it up for me. And she said, "Son, you realize every shirt you have in your backpack, in your suitcase is black?" She said, "We need to get some color in your life." I was like, "Well, you know, coming from what I do, just get grease all over everything."
I was going to say that.
People always pick on me about always wearing black.
I wear black in my race shop all of the
colors.
time, and my wife gives me crap about it too. And I'm like, black's the only color that doesn't show the stains from everything I do. So that's why I wear it.
Hey,
100%.
Exactly.
All right,
so yeah, black.
Okay. When it comes to peanut butter, crunchy or creamy?
Creamy.
All right, fair.
I'm old school. I like the old peanut butter and jelly sandwiches.
Okay, then what flavor jelly then? Grape or strawberry?
Grape.
There you go. Yeah, I like some grape jelly.
Yeah.
There you go. Grape jelly.
I like. See, now he's got some Southern in him, because the attaboy is a Southern phrase. Where'd you get that from, Nick?
Minnesota.
Where'd that come?
No, I've never lived anywhere else but here, so I don't know.
There's some Southern folks in your heritage.
Must be able to check that out.
Attaboy.
Awesome.
That's a Southern phrase.
Do you like waffles or pancakes?
Waffles?
I got one more.
Okay.
When it comes to wings, drums or flats?
Drums.
All right. Well, that's fine.
What about
We disagree. That's cool.
So I mean, is this a scored thing?
No,
or
it was
is
just literally just
okay,
for fun.
right.
Yeah, just
I got you. Yeah. I think y'all hit me way more than two though.
Well, we
you?
usually do 2 or 3 apiece.
Yeah,
we usually do this one. So
if I'd have known this, I'd have had my own.
Hey, you could fire questions at it. We're ready.
Oh no, I'll save it for next time.
Sounds like a plan.
I'll be more prepared with questions.
That sounds good. I can't wait. But yeah, I appreciate it, Brad. Obviously, thank you for joining us on this episode. Obviously, everybody listening, everybody who tuned in, appreciate you guys tuning in. As always, our focus here is just to help you keep moving, keep motivated. There's plenty of things in this world to help distract you, and hopefully today we were able to be that little bit of a distraction away from some of the stuff you're dealing with, and you get to keep grinding away until we're back with next week's episode. But with that, I'm Brandon.
I'm Nick.
And that's Brad.
I'm Brad Goodman.
Thanks for tuning in for Talkin Shop with ShopSabre. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you guys for having me.